Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Aqua Army Africa, the program by fishfarmafrica.com, an online magazine dedicated to the promotion of aquaculture in Africa. My name is Major General Gifty Gravity. My duty is to enroll you in Aqua Army Africa and encourage you to become a successful fish farmer. In this issue, we will be discussing fish feed. For many fish farmers, feed is perhaps the most important issue because it takes up to 70% or more of the fish farmer's budget. You often hear fish farmers complaining that they are stopping or suspending production because they cannot afford feed. We are going to discuss some of the main factors about fish feed and share some information which I am very confident will help you to make the right decisions and choices, especially those relating to feed. Once again, we will be going to our in-house expert, Dr. Grace Boama, who is here with us. Dr. Boama is a lecturer at the University of Environment and Sustainable Development. Dr. Grace, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Please tell us what comprises good fish feed.
Okay, thank you again, Major General Gravity here. Okay, so just like any other animal or even human beings, we are talking about nutritionally balanced meal or diet. Okay, so we are talking about a good fish feed as one that has the right proportion of proteins, right proportion of carbohydrates, right proportion of minerals, vitamins, fatty acids. Yeah, so basically it has to be nutritious or nutritionally balanced. Apart from that, we are looking at a good feed as one that is of the correct size and texture, such that if you have a nutritionally balanced feed, but you're feeding it to baby fish or fry, and the size is such that they cannot pick it up, then at that point, in the context of a good feed, it is not the best, right? Or you are talking about tilapia or catfish, which likes to pick the feed in the water column, and your feed is not able to float enough for them to pick it before it sinks to the bottom of the pond and mix it with the feces or the sand, or maybe gets flushed out of net of the cage before they can pick it up. That means in that context, the feed is not good enough. So some of these factors come to play when we are talking about good feed, as in nutritionally balanced and the correct size, texture, and then the ability to float, considering the species we are culturing. Yeah.
All right. But Doc, do farmers need to buy commercial feed? Why can't they just buy the ingredients, mix them up in their farms and feed it to their fish in order to save some costs?
Yeah, Major. So yeah, some farmers are doing that. They are formulating the fish feed on their farms. Actually, some government agencies or agencies in the various countries that are in charge of aquaculture are encouraging farmers to try to formulate feed on their farms, because like we said earlier on, feed is taking a chunk of the production cost. And so if they are able to do it with local ingredients on their farm, it's able to cut down production costs. Yeah, but the issue with this is that most of these smallhold farmers don't have the processing equipment, like maybe the mixer or the extruder that helps the feed to float enough for the fish to get access to it. And so this becomes a challenge. And maybe the farmer is not really an expert or doesn't have the technical expertise in feed formulation. So he might end up not mixing the right proportions of the ingredients. So measurements of protein or carbohydrates or the various ingredients that makes the feed of a good quality, he might miss those details out because that's not actually his or her expertise. And so because of these challenges, amongst others, we encourage that you go to buy your feed from a commercial feed production industry where this is actually their business. And so it is believed that they take all the necessary precautions and they make the right feed for your fish. Yeah.
All right, Doc. Could you address the issue of maize and soya meal being the larger parts or the larger chunk of feed production here in Africa? And couldn't we use other ingredients apart from maize and soya?
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor. Major General. I just called you Mayor. Mayor too is a good high high name. All right, and so yeah, here in Africa, we are looking at the major components of the carbohydrate as the maize and soya bean as maybe a source of protein, but we could have other feed alternatives. In fact, a lot of African researchers are involved in this aspect of research into alternative feed or feed ingredients for our fish farm. We have come up with alternatives like the cocoa pod husk, the palm kernel cake, the groundnut cake, the duckweed, the water lettuce, the cottonseed cake, and all that. The only issue is that these alternative feeds have what we call the anti-nutritional factors, so that the taste, the digestibility of the feed is affected. All right, but apart from that, I think that we can grow a lot of local ingredients here that we could use or incorporate in our fish feed and make our feed cost much bearable. Yeah.
All right. So whilst you were elaborating on that, we heard that alternative feed ingredients are much desired, right? But we can't really enjoy them because of their anti-nutritional factors that you mentioned, and the fact that most of them are not available in commercial quantities. So, what is your perspective on that?
Well, what we could do is not completely to do away with them, but I believe that we can research more into it. Okay, elsewhere they've been able to progress in research so that they are able to neutralize this anti-nutritional factors. All right, and so I believe that with a lot of research, we could find maybe even other alternative components or ingredients, and we could also improve upon the ones we have discovered so that it is fit, and we could also use technology to produce it in large quantities so that it's accessible and at the commercial level, and we could use it. So all hope is not lost.
All right. So, Dr. Grace, will the reduction or the problem of feed prices, okay, will it help boost the production of fish production?
To a greater extent, but the issue about fish production has not only got to do with the feed, all right. So that if we are able to cut the cost of feed to a greater extent, it means that fish production is really going to go up. Or it's not really so. It will help a lot, okay, but it won't solve the problem completely because we are looking at other factors that influence the production. Okay, so imagine you have a cheap feed or affordable feed that is nutritionally balanced, but you have very poor quality fingerlings, then it means that your production is still going to be a problem. Or imagine you have good fingerlings, you have good feed and affordable feed, but your water quality or management of the water quality parameters is so bad. So temperature is out of range, pH is out of range, there is nitrogen toxicity. So even if you put the feed in there, they're not going to feed. At the end of the day, you're not going to get the right size at the right time. And so it's not just about the feed or solving the feed issue, but it's about the general management of the whole process of producing your fish. Yeah.
All right, that's very informative. But then the issue with training, okay, can anyone actually do the feed management and administration, or do we actually consider training people to do that on the farms?
Okay, so earlier on we spoke about getting experts. Okay,
Yeah.
Training your farm managers is very key in fish farming. Yeah, at least they should have basic good basic education. Okay, in terms of keeping records. Of course, nowadays there are simple apps that could help you remember when to feed, how much to feed, and all that. But you need training in these areas so that you can calculate how much food you have to put in, what time you have to put it in. So bookkeeping, good record keeping is very important. So you don't go and pour all the feed into them. And then you go like, instead of feeding them maybe 3 times a day at particular times, you just go like, I'm busy today, so I'm gonna put it in
Feed
all
them
at
once.
once, and then they eat when they need it. No, it's not gonna happen. So yeah, you need training. It's very important to train your farm managers to keep records very well, how much feed they are putting in, even calculating if the fish is gaining weight, so they have to now regulate how much feed they put in. So yeah, training is very much important, and our records keeping is very important in our daily farm management. And
Wow. So before you go, Dr. Grace, how important is water in the feed equation?
Water in the feed equation. Okay, so we know that the fish lives in water.
Yes.
Yeah, everything about the fish is in water. So I would say it plays in water, it reproduces in water, it feeds in the water, it sleeps in the water. So water is very key as far as fish farming is concerned. And so water must always be kept clean and refreshing and replaced from time to time, so that the fish can feed well, can grow well to the size that we need at the estimated time. So yes, water plays a very key role in the life and in raising fish.
Thank you so much, Dr. Grace. Viewers, you heard it from Dr. Grace Boama, a lecturer at the University of Environment and Sustainable Development at Somanya here in Ghana. Now, if you've been listening to us, I believe you have been taking notes. If you haven't, please do. Okay, so you could send your comments and your requests to our website, www.fishfarmafrica.com. You could also email us on fishfarmafrica@gmail.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Thank you so much, and goodbye for now.